It's Alissa Coram here, and today's guest, we've got Brian Shannon, professional trader and author. It is so great to see you, Brian.
You too, Allie. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I only wish it was under better circumstances. The market wasn't too kind to us this week. But
Brutal,
yeah,
yeah.
really brutal out there. We'll get into that and a couple of fun questions as well, and round things out with a couple of setups that you are looking at. But let's dive right in. So just a quick take on the market action that we saw this week and how that impacted how you were positioned as a trader. I mean, those who follow you on Twitter know this is kind of a stay away market right now.
It really is, unless you're really short-term oriented. I mean, we can look at this market and say, wow, it was down, 13% year to date, 8.7% in the SPY this month, and 13.5% for the NASDAQ. So it seems like there's a lot of opportunity on the downside, but it's so damn hard to hold a short, for me at least. Yesterday, I was long the NASDAQ for a little while. I didn't want to hold, and we had a great rally into the end of the day. I didn't want to hold that because of all the earnings report, and that was a very good decision. We had a real difficult day today, and I got short intraday, but I covered it all at the end of the day. I'm just not interested in these gaps in either directions. It's too difficult to control risk, really, Ellie.
Exactly. Yeah. The short time frames and risk management, absolutely key. Okay. Well, let's get into some questions here, Brian. So what would you say are your two favorite bands or groups of all time? I know you're a big music buff.
Sure. Well, I am going to be in LA next week to see Pearl Jam at the beginning of their concert. So I got to say them, and I'm going to see them in Denver towards the end of their tour after they go to Europe, and Eddie's voice probably sounds like crap. And then Pink Floyd, I'd say, is probably my all-time favorite.
Nice. I like it. That'll be fun. Wish I was able to see you while you were in LA, but I hope you have an awesome trip. I would have to say, so I grew up in Texas, so country music is sort of my vibe, even though growing up, I never listened to country music. I listened to a lot of classic rock. My dad's like a huge classic rock guy. So I love that music, but I would have to say, like, in terms of bands that I like right now, Zach Brown Band. I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl when I was living out there. So lots of fun music there. And Chris Stapleton, good vibe there. So those would be my two picks. And next, what would you say is your fondest childhood memory?
Fondest. Oh boy, this is a delay tactic by repeating the question because I got to search back. And I was more nervous about these types of questions than talking about the market.
I know.
Fondest childhood memory, I guess. I think that maybe when I was about 5 or 6 years old, going to Disney, as basic as that is. I mean, I had a real good time at that. And for some reason, I remember the bicentennial year celebration in 1976 when I was, I don't know how old, a long time ago. I was 9 years old, I guess. So those two were fun for me.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I'll go ahead, and I was going to say something else, but I'll riff on the Disney thing too. Why not? When I went when I was a kid, you know how they had that pull the sword out of the stone thing. Well, I was queen for the day. I pulled the sword out of the stone. They did this big thing. They brought me a crown and a cape, and I got a certificate. And of course they had all these, big, strong guys before me, trying to lift it out. And I was the one that lifted it out. So that's a pretty good memory. Yeah. Okay. So since you're in Denver, I think I know the answer to this, but snow or sand?
I'd say snow. Yeah.
And
it's a tough choice. It's
a tough choice.
Why
not have
peanut butter or chocolate?
Exactly.
They're both great. But snow, especially now it's, end of April and people think skiing is done. This is really the best time of year, March and April, to go skiing.
Nice. Yeah. And you recently went, right? Did you stay local or where'd you go?
Just on Wednesday. I mean, it's 45 minutes from home. So, got some great exercise hiking up the hill and then some fun turns on the way down.
That's pretty cool. Okay. And now let's go with something more educational. We'll circle back. What would you say is the piece of market wisdom that has had the biggest impact on you?
Cutting losses. And this is the perfect example, cutting losses and not buying downtrends. And just like anyone, I mean, I learned it the hard way. And the reason I say it so often on Twitter, don't buy stocks and downtrends, I'm also telling myself, because I still look at a stock and go, wow, I could probably catch a bounce in it. And I like to keep these stocks on my screens like Upstart, DKNG, Roku, and just watch them go down day after day and say, see, that's why you don't do it. That's why you have to stick with your mantra. Don't buy stocks and downtrends.
Yes. Okay. And for me, I would have to say, kind of in that same vein, because it touches so many other things, and that's risk management. And
Yeah.
how do you manage risk? Your setups, your position size, where your stop is, all of those things. So,
Yeah.
like you said, in this market, especially, a really, really great reminder of that.
Right.
Okay, and before we get to the couple of trade setups, I do want to give our live audience some shout outs. So Richard Moglen saying, drink every time Brian says only price pays. So
Only
I guess
price pays, only price pays, only
oh,
price pays.
there
There's
you go,
three.
Richard. 3 shots for you, whatever you're drinking. Ricardo saying greetings from Spain. And anyway, yeah, it's a great group. So cheers to you all joining us live.
Only price pays.
There you go. All right. Hey, it's right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere on the East Coast. Okay, so now let's get to a couple of trade setups that you're watching. Usually with my guests, I like looking at recent trades that have been made, but it sounds like you've been pretty light in the market, as have I.
Right.
So let's talk about some potential setups that you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really light, and it's not my preference to day trade, but that's really where my confidence is right now. I don't have the confidence holding anything. So, I had posted 2 charts on Twitter that I think are still actionable. So one was LRN, which is Stride Incorporated, and that's up there. They had their earnings report, which, was the stock gapped way up. That was about I don't know, 8 days ago or so. So last week it gapped way up and it settled down. I didn't buy this stock. I was looking to purchase it, but unfortunately it just kind of went without me. So when we look at this 15-minute chart, I don't know if you can see it's switching live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I was looking at it right around in here at about 38 and a half. And I hoped I was hoping for it to settle down a little bit and then get going. Instead, it just kind of rallied here the last 2 days. It did so without me, but I think that longer term, it still has the ability to rally because we have this prior big resistance level here on the daily time frame. You can see it pulled back right to the 20-day moving average and tagged it perfectly. And looking to the weekly time frame, that's a great base that it broke out of past this 38 level, and it looks like it has room to run. So it's one of the few stocks that still has a good look to it right now. I'd prefer it pulls back down towards about 38 and then buy it back on strength once again. So I've got an eye on that one. Maybe some people who follow me on Twitter got involved, but I didn't, not yet.
All right. Well, some nice blue volume spikes there. And now let's take a look at a potential short idea here.
Yeah, and I posted this one on Twitter as well. I'm not involved in it right now. I missed it today, but this is Dick's Sporting Good. And you can see clearly, I mean, we've got the 50-day down or 10-week down through the 40-week moving average. And it's just a classic distributive top here that looks like it's on the edge of a cliff, really kind of ready to cave in, maybe down towards that 80 level. And here we're at 96. Over to the daily time frame, we're stuck below the declining 20-day moving average all week, which is below the declining 50-day moving average. And, earnings are due not till May 26th, so that's not really an issue. But this is one that I've got an eye on for next week. Maybe, if we get a rally early in the week up towards 98.5, 99, and then it rolls back over again, then I would be looking to get short DKS. But the key, of course, with especially in a market that's oversold like this, sorry for flipping back and forth so much, is if it got up above this high from this week, let's just call it 101.90. That's where I would cut my loss if I got short, or if it got up to 101.90 prior to a short entry, then it would just invalidate the trade for me. Because again, as we were saying, risk management is job number one. Only price pays. Take a shot, drink, whatever you're doing. So that's the way I'm looking at those two.
I love it. Well, thanks for that breakdown there. And this is brief. We got a wrap, but we will definitely catch up with you soon. You're going to be on IBD Live in May. So yeah, so that'll be a fun time. Thank you, Brian. This was awesome. And cheers to the weekend.
Cheers. Only price pays.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll see you back here next week. Have a great weekend. And only price pays.
Yes.